Hello everyone, welcome back to the 80slashers.com YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to take a look at the Mountaintop Motel Massacre. So this is a film that was made in 1983. Now it has kind of an interesting history. Like I say, it was made in 1983, and as far as I can tell, it only got a theatrical release um, in like one city in Louisiana, under the title, I believe, just Mountaintop Motel. And then in '84, it got released in like another city, somewhere in Mississippi, I believe. Again, just one little small release in 1984 under a different title. Uh, and then New World Pictures picked it up, a big studio. And in 1986, it finally got a nationwide release. Um, and they changed the title, like New World Pictures changed the title to Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Gave it a wide release and video and everything. So yeah, but it's and this is a 1983 film for sure. But yeah, that's just a little brief history of this film. Now, this is one of these films. If you watch the previous video I made, this is one of the films I grew up seeing on the video store shelves, like almost my entire childhood, it seemed. And this is the cover. This is I love this artwork just because it just reminds me so much of my childhood. A previous video I mentioned this in New York Ripper, a film I just reviewed. Same thing. I saw that one growing up, and this one, and there's a few other ones, but this one just, I don't know, just really reminds me of the VHS days. So yeah, I super glad I have this. This is great. Yeah, before we get into a little review, we'll just talk about what this film is about, if anyone's not familiar. Basically, there's the beginning of the movie starts, and you're introduced to a character named Evelyn. And she was spent a few years in a psychiatric hospital, and she was just recently released. She's living with her daughter, and they run a mountaintop motel, and it's there's a scene showing the daughter speaking to her deceased father about her mother, saying that she's worried that she's starting to act a little crazy again, and she's actually doing like a séance to her deceased father. Evelyn, of course, walks in, interrupts it, is not happy, freaks out. They have a confrontation, and things don't go great. Um, the cops show up, and they explain. The cops ask what happens. She explains whatever accident, something like that, and yeah, that's basically the setup. And then we're basically just put into this hotel where Evelyn is running, and throughout the next little while, people start showing up to stay at the hotel, and at that point, Evelyn has snapped, and she basically goes around and starts killing the guests one by one. Um, that's pretty much it. That's like there's no there's yeah, there's no spoilers or anything. It's just that's the setup to the movie. And that's how it plays out. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, there's no mystery. Like this is the type of film where there's no mystery who the killer is, or any big backstory reveal. It's just they lay it out there right from the beginning, and it plays through. Um, Unfortunately for me, I found this film quite slow. I thought maybe just like a slow start. So, some films start slow when they're building the story and some of the character development, which is fine. Um, but it just kind of kept going for me. The slowness, it just was very um it just kind of, I don't know, it just moved on. It wasn't like the plot's not bad. It's it's I guess it's a well-written story, but in I guess it's just something a little different within the 80s slasher genre. It's kind of more I don't know, slow and kind of methodical in the storytelling. Um, and I like I said, I hate to use the word, but it's kind of just a little boring to be perfectly honest. Like in terms of plot wise. Like I said, there was just no mystery, no suspense, and just wasn't not a lot of fun elements to the film for me. It just kind of was like a slower horror movie that was, a slasher, and it is a slasher. But it's not structured like the typical ones that this genre usually produces. Um, so yeah, it's just I don't know. It was just a little boring for me plot wise. Um, and there was a lot of like some weird, strange thing. This film deals with um, mental illness. So there's a lot of I don't know oddities to the way because they're trying to depict Evelyn's I guess um, her descent into deeper you know mental illness. So, there's a lot of animals death and like death by animal and like the use of spiders and rats and cockroaches and snakes, just like phobias that people play on. She's like that's how she starts torturing these people with these different animals and whatnot. And yeah, it just kind of all fits together into that weird, I don't know, the mental illness kind of thing going on. And it's good. It's fine. It's not like written poorly. Like the dialogue's not terrible like some of these films can have. It just was a little flat, a little slow for me. Um, but yeah, so we'll get into some of the other elements. Now um, the one thing that I did really like about this film was the atmosphere and like the setting. This film is really nicely filmed. Like the cinematography, the camera work, the editing, all that stuff. They did a really good job. The filmmakers, they knew what they were doing in terms of the technical side of the filmmaking part of this. It was very atmospheric at times. I didn't mention it before, but the hotel is set up with cabins. There's like cabin one, cabin two, cabin three, cabin four, and like the main office. And as the guests show up and they're staying in their cabins, the way that she's getting to them is under all these cabins. There's an elaborate tunnel system. That's somebody like a mining tunnel kind of thing. And she's going underground to each cabin. She's popping up through like a trap door in the floor, and she's killing these people. So because of that, the scenes above ground were they're okay. It's at like a mountain like a mountain set or a motel set in the mountains, and up in the woods and whatnot. It's just kind of a typical setting. But the scenes shot down in the tunnel are very, very well filmed. Like a lot of like the has really good lighting and use of shadows, and some of like just the framing of the shots. They did a really good job. It looks really nice, and a majority of the film, almost the entire film, is taking place during like a rainstorm. So that's really cool because it really adds to the atmosphere of this film. Whenever they're in the cabin, you can hear the rainstorm coming down. If they open the door, you see the rain coming down, people running through, getting wet. Um, it adds to the like I guess the isolation of this motel. It's not only dark and in the woods, but it's raining out, it's storming out. There's trees falling over, blocking people from getting out. I like the atmosphere. I like the setting for this film. The tunnels, like I said, they were cool. They weren't they weren't as like scary as they should have been. I feel like when you see a film like My Bloody Valentine, like the scenes down in the mines, those were terrifying. Just the use of light and stuff. They just really maximize that location. With in this film, it's not so much like it was filmed nice, but it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't a really. They didn't use it to, to bring up the terror level. So that was a little bit of a miss for me, but it looks good. Um, So yeah, so that's one thing I really did like about this film. Now for the kills, um, there's no on-screen kills. They're all the camera cuts away as she's killing the people, and then it cuts back, and you see some of like the after effects of the kill, with use of practical effects. So even though I prefer on-screen kills, obviously, it's kind of disappointing that it didn't have that. But I will say there's a few of the kills where the after effects were really really good. Pretty well done. So yeah, that's I guess we can say that for this film. But there wasn't enough kills. I'll say that. Like there was, I think the first kill didn't happen until an hour into the film, and this is like an hour and a half film. So you're like I said, that's when I said it's a slow film. Like you're sitting there for an hour until the killing starts. So that was that like I said, that's my biggest issue with this film. Like just a very slow film, and like I said, it plays into the kills, which for an '80s slasher you don't want to do. So yeah, and Evelyn as a killer, she's all right. This isn't her. This she doesn't look like this, or if she does, maybe this is her. Um, I don't know. She doesn't look like that in the film. She looks a lot older, a little more frail. Um, so believable as a killer. I guess she's crazy, and the actress does a really good job of portraying a crazy person. Just the look in her eyes. This is definitely not her. I just looked at yeah, it's definitely not her. Um, but yeah, like the look in her eyes, and just like you can tell, it's like uh, the, the type of crazy that she shows on screen. It's really off-putting and disturbing. So that is good. That kind of stuff really does kind of freak me out a little. Um, so yeah, so that's good. But yeah, as a killer, she's a little old lady. So yeah, her weapon of choice is like a sickle, like a big like a big bladed like hook kind of thing, like a handle and just like a big like I think it's called a sickle. And, it's all right. It's a good weapon. Um, so yeah, so the kills, not terrible, not great. They're just, there's a few a good special practical effects after the kills, but yeah. In terms of nudity, no nudity in this film. The closest thing you get, there's a couple of the people, um, visitors to the hotel. They get stranded on the side of the road. Their car breaks down, and they're two women, two cousins. And of course, like I said, it's in the middle of a rainstorm, so they hop out of the car. They're both wearing white t-shirts, so it's basically like a wet t-shirt thing going on for a minute or so. Um, and that's it. That's the nudity within this film. That as a 10-year-old, that would have been great. Like it, but you know, that's it for that for this film. So yeah, so and basically the finale, again, nothing special. It takes place down in the tunnels. Again, with a setting that I like. It's not bad. I feel like they could have used the location just a little more. Made it, just used it to help with the elevate the tension and the suspense. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't the finale, like the final chase. It was all right. It was fine. So so yeah, that's about all I have to say about this film. It's as you can tell, like I'm not giving it my the highest grades. It's not a bad film. Like I said, it was made really well, and as a horror film, as like a drama, as a study of mental illness, it's good. Like it's well written, I guess. It's just within my list of 80s slashers, my rankings. This would rank higher if it just wasn't for it was just a little boring, and it wasn't if it was just a little more fun, like with the kills and like the nudity and like the I don't know, like the pacing. It just wasn't. It was kind of a dry watch for an '80s slasher, if that makes sense. Like it's an '80s slasher, but it's kind of dry, kind of watered down, more serious tone. Um, so yeah, not a bad film. I recommend people see it because, like I said, it's a good film. Just it's not the the cheesy, um, you know, the formulaic style of 80s slasher that we all like. But it, it's it's fine for what it is. It's pretty good. So yeah, so there's that. So yeah, so this is a Blu-ray. This is released by Vinegar Syndrome, one of my favorites. I just bought some more titles from them on their Black Friday sale. So once they arrive, I will make a video with them and some other pickups, recent pickups. But yeah, they do a fantastic job. So the cool thing about this, which is something I've never seen before, all these films usually, Scream Factory, Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, they always usually include reversible cover art. So I chose this because, like I said, it's the one that I grew up seeing. But this one actually has four pieces of artwork. So you have two slips. You have the option of four. So like I said, you had that one, and you had this one in there. And there's Evelyn there. She's like, you can tell she's a lot older. So yeah, you get the Blu-ray and the DVD disc. And then you have this option here. I believe this is the one that came shipped from Vinegar Syndrome. This is the one that they're, on their website and whatnot. And then you also have a fourth option. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I like that about this. In terms of the film, like I said, this film was shot 35 mil. So this has been newly scanned and restored in 2K from the original 35 millimeter negative elements. It looks good. Like, this is the best you're ever going to see this movie look. So if you're looking to get this, this is clearly the way. This has been released on, I believe, 88 films. It's like a Region B release. You can get this elsewhere. But here in North America, I would recommend this version. This one, there's no reason not to get this. This one looks fantastic. It looks really good. I can't imagine it looking any better. The sound is fine. I found it was a little tinny, maybe. I don't know. Maybe just because it's an older film, and some of these older films, if the audio track is synced, a little, I don't know. Just some of the sound was, it just didn't sound as natural, like the voice actors. The voice of the actors, it didn't sound super organic with the film. You could tell it was like an audio track, if that makes sense. But it wasn't bad. It was just a little tinny. But that's not these guys, like Vinegar Syndrome. This is more of just I think there's the way it was filmed, way it was, the audio track was made. So anyway, it's fine. It looks good, sounds good. In terms of special features, you got the standard stuff. There's two interviews on here, both with like cast members. I'm sorry, crew members. There's like a assistant cameraman, and there's like a production designer. One of them is just over 20 minutes, and the other one is just a little over 10 minutes. So you get an extra half hour of behind the scenes info. And basically, these people who worked on the film worked with the director. So they tell some stories about, like, the production, the film being made. There was an extra ending added on, like when the New World Pictures picked it up in 80 for release in 86. They added on, like, they changed the name, and then they added on more of a gory ending, to the original ending. So they talk about that and that kind of stuff, and then you get like the regular picture gallery trailer, and yeah, the reversible cover art. So yeah, so that's about it, guys. This is it is what it is. It's a little slow. It's a more plot driven film. So if it sounds interesting, I recommend it. If you're collecting these films, you gotta get it. You gotta pick it up. It's yeah, it's all right. It could use a little more gore, a little more nudity, and a little bit more fun. But other than that, it's a pretty good watch. All right, guys. So that's it. So yeah. So until next time, I guess. All right. See ya.